you. Everybody, I'd like to welcome and thank you to being here today for Elite Advisor Academy webinar, our March 29th webinar. And today we're doing case studies with Jonathan Lee. Jonathan, I hand over the webinar, sir.
All right, thank you, Dennis. I am going to share my screen in just a minute here. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I've got 4 case studies to go over with you guys today that people sent in, and they're actually 4 completely different ones, which is really, really good. I'm going to spend 10 to 15 minutes on each one, and I'm also going to show you some closing techniques that I would use for a couple of these. It's really important, though, if I'm talking too fast, there's that little box. Just type in. I think you can just type in a question if you need me to, and I'll stop and I'll answer it. But because I want to go through and make sure I get through all of these at one time, I don't want to leave the lines open because people will tend to have a lot of feedback and everything else. So this call is being recorded. We can go back and look at them. But today we're going to talk about the financial model, the importance of using a model, how you use the models at point of sales. And really, I mean, in my mind, the financial models that you guys are going to be seeing today, this has changed my life. I mean, it's changed the way that I run my practice, and it's really, really important that you use a model. The models are a nice, clear representation of somebody's entire life on one piece of paper, and it allows you to go back and forth and change things. I'm going to show you how easy it is to change one thing and how it repopulates the entire model, which is really, really useful. So I'm going to do a couple of insurance things with you guys as well today. I'm just pulling some stuff up on my computer so you can see all these different models, and we're going to kind of jump right into it. So hold on one second. Okay, excellent. So I'm going to start off, and I changed the names on these to husbands and wives, but if you sent these models over, you guys probably will recognize them. But anyways, the first one, I got a husband and wife, and by the way, when you guys send me over models and you don't give me tax returns or statements or questionnaires or any of the other things that we use, I can get pretty far on a case, but I can't tell a lot about the client. Like, I don't know if this particular client has kids or not. You know, the vast majority of the time when somebody comes in, if they don't have any kids, obviously their choices are going to be very, very different. But I'm just going to go with what you guys sent me over, and I'm going to assume that I can kind of figure out the rest, and I'm going to show you the couple different scenarios that we can kind of go through. But in any case, husband and wife, 66 and 62, it looks like they're both still working. I have a projected retirement age of 71. And again, this stuff may or may not be accurate, but we're going to go through the case like it is accurate. And I got Social Security numbers here, age 70 and age 66. So I'm assuming the reason why this advisor sent these numbers over is because that's when they were assuming that each client was going to draw their Social Security. It's too late. It's too late. And in any case, so we'll assume that they were given instructions or advice or some type of thing that said, hey, you should wait till you're 70, and this other person said 66. In this drawer here where it says insurance, there's no mention of life insurance, long-term care insurance, whatever. So obviously that's a major concern. They got a bunch of money in savings. They got a bunch of money. Obviously this particular advisor had gotten, it looks like, most of their money under their control in annuities. Maybe the only stuff that's not under their control is this 401k and maybe this ESOP plan. These 2 annuities are in the right place because it says non-qualified, so under other, the non-retirement account should be non-qualified. If this is an ESOP plan, I'm not sure what it means in terms of if it's qualified or not or where this money is, but let's assume that, again, let's just assume that all the stuff is in the right place. And then I don't have full information here about the mortgage either, but it looks like they have a house that's worth about $600,000, and they have a mortgage of about $300,000. So obviously I would want to know from this client, hey, is this the house you're going to retire in? Or most of the time if you're still working, which this couple is, they're going to end up retiring in another house. I also don't have enough information here to figure out how much money he's putting into his 401k. I'm going to just make an assumption here, and that is that this guy is saving money into his 401k. even though it's not on here, what most people in this situation would be doing, obviously, they'd be maxing out their 401ks. If this person's a saver into savings accounts and he's a saver into retirement accounts, then probably I'm guessing he's saving here. And let's just say he's doing the max plus the catch-up, and I don't know if he's getting matched or not, but let's just go ahead and put in somewhere around $22,500 a year. Okay. One of the things that you're going to see here is that not only does the model show you what everything's happening, but it's also going to extrapolate for us what ends up happening at different ages for this particular client. So right now I've got it scheduled to do age 71. Okay, so I just wanted you guys to see the functionality of this. At age 71, it shows what all their different assets are going to be, a total income of $141,000 a year. Let's say, though, the client said, I want to retire at 66, right? Just by changing the 66 in this field up here, it's going to change this entire number to 123 because it repopulated everything else, and it changed the number for me. So again, even if I take this number here and I make this 71, you don't have to do the math. You look like a wizard because it just repopulated everything for you, brought it back up to 141. Let's say I take this and zero this out, and I say he doesn't put any money in. Again, it just repopulated everything, so you can see that the extra money that he's going to be putting into his 401k, if he is in fact putting it in, he wants to do that for 5 years. That $22,500 a year. Now it's here again. We'll bring the 135 to 141. So they'll give him an extra $6,000 a year of income for the rest of his life by making that contribution. So this model is not only just a real good visual, but it's so user friendly. I made it simple enough so anybody could use it, and if we have numbers here and numbers there, it just changes everything for you. And so you can answer somebody's questions about, hey, can I retire at this age? Can I retire at that age? Really, really easily. So what I have a problem with right now in this guy's situation, besides the no protection, is that he makes a lot of income, and I see a pension here that he's got potentially coming to him, but I don't really see much else in the way of fixed assets or pension information. So let me just see here. I'm going to punch this back up for a second. I'm trying to see if I can make it so I can see questions if they come. Share your entire desktop, grant control, open participant list, open auto control, open chat controls. I think if I open up this chat control. Okay, perfect. So I've got the box up if you guys have questions. All right, so let's go back to the model for a second. So this is a little bit worrisome, and I'm guessing my worry is probably for nothing, but when you see somebody's got a high income with no pension, he will have had to have saved millions of dollars in order to recreate this income. So there's a couple of reasons why the millions of dollars that he does not have might be okay. The first reason is because he may be saving a lot of money. Like, I don't know if this guy's saving $4,000 a month in his checking account. I don't know if he's maxing out his 401k. There's not enough information on this model to tell me that, but my guess is he's saving a lot of money. The second thing is his income right now is all taxable, and I would definitely approach this guy rather than, obviously this advisor already has most of his money anyway, so he's got a good relationship. But rather than going at this guy as saying, hey, look, maybe we can make you some more money, or maybe we can have you be more efficient fee-wise, or take you out of the market and have you be less risk, or whatever it is that this particular advisor sold this guy, the safe money solution or protection of principal, whatever it is, there's a real tax situation here. And I don't see a single Roth IRA on this guy's plan. So he's got money in savings. This is creating taxation. He's got money down here. This is creating taxation. Maybe not the non-qualified annuities, but maybe this other non-qualified account of $400,000 might be causing taxation. All of these IRAs are going to eventually cause taxation. His Social Security is going to cause taxation, and his pension is going to cause taxation. Well, what did I just do? I just basically said this guy's entire life is taxable. And so we're trying to get him to realize, hey, that wasn't my intention. Nobody's intention, I'll ask him, was your intention to defer taxes so that in retirement you had to pay taxes on everything? And typically, what does somebody say when we say that? Well, either I didn't really think about it, or I didn't realize it, or no, that wasn't my intention. So there's a couple different solutions here. The first is the insurance solution. And I'm going to go back into my emails real quick because I was trying to get my staff members to email me over in my email these illustrations. We'll see if they did it. Looks like they did it. Okay, so there's a couple insurance illustrations I want to go over with you guys to talk about the insurance solution. And then I also want to talk in this particular case about the charitable trust solution, right? Because there's two ways to make more money, right? The first way, which everybody thinks, is, hey, try to either save more money or make more money, but that's kind of out of our control. You know, we can tell a client that he's not saving enough and say, hey, you're kind of screwed and you really have to save more money, but people don't typically like to hear that. Or we can say, hey, we'll try to make you more money, and we're showing everything at 5%, and if you're doing managed money, I can get you 7%, or if I have got some income rider that's actually a lie, doesn't really exist, I can show somebody 7 or 8%. But in reality, we know everything's going to earn 4 or 5%. That's just the way the life works. So rather than making them more money or forcing them to save more if they're not doing it, why don't we just have them have more money coming to them tax-free? Because if they can pay less taxes on the distributions in retirement, that can make a huge difference for them on how much money they have. In addition to that, in addition to having them have more money because they pay less tax, what if we can add some protection up here? You know, what really, really worries me, and I would be scared if I was this client, I mean, I'd be petrified, is holy cow, I may have enough money if everything goes great, but what if something doesn't go right? What if the market doesn't do well or tax rates go up, or worse, what if my wife or one of us gets sick and needs some part-time or full-time care? You know, what really is going to happen to us, and how much is our overall plan going to be in jeopardy? And I would say it's going to get devastated. It's going to get absolutely devastated because this particular client is in that sweet spot of, hey, they have a decent amount of money, but with no protection, there's no way that both spouses could survive if one of them needed care. And statistically speaking, we know now that the chances of somebody needing care is probably almost 70%. That's just for one person. So the chances of one or both of these people needing care is in the 90s. If you guys know that type of formula, if you have two people and the chances of one of them needing care is in the 70s, then the chances of one of two of them needing it is in the 90s. Okay? So there's a high likelihood that one of them is going to need care. We need to really expose them to the possibility of, oh my gosh, everything could be really, really sunk if if only one of you needed long-term care, and if both of you needed it, forget it. We're going to be in serious trouble. So obviously we want them to get underwritten for the life insurance and the long-term care stuff, but let's take a look at what else is going on here that we can talk them to about. And in this particular meeting, if it's the first or second meeting, what I would basically say to them is, we might be able to show you how to have a gross of $10,000 a month income-wise, maybe a little bit more than that, depending upon at what age you draw Social Security and how much longer you work. But we're going to try to tackle some of the taxes on this $10,000, and we can see if we can really have an impact. And I'm going to say, let's go ahead and introduce you to a concept of something called a CRUT. All right, so I go right up onto the internet, and I Google the word CRUT, just like you guys who have done joint cases with me. This is exactly what I do. I Google the word CRUT. I go on to the Wikipedia version of Charitable Remainder Unit Trust. I explain them how it works, do an introduction to them. Boom, that's fine. The second part of that is going to be this. I'll pull up an actual care presentation. And again, I got to go through these quickly, but I wanted you guys to see how you can really sort of whet this guy's appetite, right? I go over the plan overview, I explain to him how it works, and I go to the proposal page, right? And I go to Mr. and Mrs. John and Jane Doe, and I say, look, you've got some annuities here that are non-qualified. You've got this ESOP plan here. Let's say at some point right before or during or after retirement, we move this $400,000 from this plan into this CRUT. Maybe this is stock. Maybe it's mutual funds. Maybe it's real estate. Maybe it's cash. Wherever your client gets the money to put in here, that's fine. It can come from anywhere that's a non-qualified account, more or less. I've even had some clients put their office buildings in CRUTs, farmland in CRUTs. But let's say, to keep this example simple, let's say that he can generate $20,000 of income from this, okay? And then it's going to create a tax deduction for him. So the tax deduction is going to be, depending upon the age, between 30 to 50%. It says right here. The tax deduction might be 30 to 50% of this $400,000. So in this case, if he's younger than 65, it's going to be less than 50. If he's over than 65, it might be more than 50. But let's say this guy's in his mid-60s, so let's just say it's $190,000. Okay? This $190,000 tax deduction can be used to offset taxes coming out of these IRAs for the next 5 years. So even if he doesn't need the money now, it may behoove us, depending upon what his situation is, to start taking distribution now, offsetting the tax with a charitable trust deduction, and moving that somewhere where it will never be taxed again. And you can see right here, roughly speaking, on all of his retirement accounts, he's got about $1 million, right? Well, here's the real interesting thing about $1 million, guys, and this is the transition to the close, okay? So we showed him the CRUT, and I'm not going to spend any more time on the CRUT today, okay? But I showed him the CRUT. He may or may not like it. Most people love it. He may or may not like this. He's certainly going to like the tax deduction, okay? But this gives us about $40,000 of tax deductions for the next 5 years, which means I can start pulling $40,000 a year out of this $1 million portfolio right now without him having to pay taxes on it, okay? So here's where the real interesting work starts to happen. This particular client, assuming we have the long-term care discussion and everything else, we'll take the $1.1 million, right, and we'll pull out $40,000 a year. And that just happens to be the number that we can pull out and basically offset the tax on. And, you know, I can do this for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. But what you're going to see here is this guy is going to be able to take this money out, and the money's still going to grow over 20 years. Now, what's really going to be interesting is if we take this money out for a few years, and then we start taking out more money for his retirement, because he's still going to need to take out money from here for his retirement also. So eventually at some point he's going to need to take out 40, plus he's going to need to take out 37,000. Why 37,000, guys? Because that's the 3.7% RMD of the $1 million, right? So it might be 7 or 8 years from now, whenever he turns 70 and his wife turns 70. But at the end of the day, we're going to probably end up taking out $77,000, right? Whoop, negative 77. And what happens when you take out negative $77,000 is the accounts start to shrink. And let's do this for 15 years. And here's where it gets real interesting, right? So after 15 years, he's taken his money down from $1 million to $500,000. Good thing or bad thing? Well, intuitively, before they met us, they might have thought that was a bad thing, but now they know it's a good thing. There's nothing better than shifting money from a taxable account to a tax-free pocket. Because remember, this $77,000 represents $40 tax-free going into insurance from the CRUT, and it also represents $37 that he's going to spend in retirement. So this kills both birds with the same stone. And here's where the insurance now comes into play. And this is where it gets real interesting. Remember, 15 years from now, he doesn't have his $1 million anymore. He has $500,000, right? Now what ends up happening is this. I'm going to go into the insurance, and there's going to be two different types of insurance that I'm looking at here. And I always do the low version and the high version. And obviously, they're going to do the high version. So if I do Jane Doe, this is Economax, right? This is the low version. This is the version of just life insurance without the long-term care. So hopefully this is going to pull up for me because I got a lot of applications running here on my laptop. On my desktop. Looks like it's giving me a little bit of trouble. Okay. So I only needed the one page. They sent me all these pages, but I'm going to go down the summary and show you guys. The low version is this, okay? This is husband or wife. This is actually the wife. $11,000 a year gets you $500,000 of life insurance, okay? After 20 years, he's put in over $200,000. He still has $500,000 life insurance. He's got a little bit of cash value in here, okay? But just like a universal life, if you take cash value out of here, right, it comes off death benefit. His death benefit has not grown, so he's going to basically have to pay that money back if he wants to do it. This just is one of those things where you show somebody, hey, you can't really outlive this thing because you're never going to put in $500,000. But if you died any time along the way, your spouse would get $500,000 tax-free. That's all well and good. That's not that exciting. This is not what we're trying to sell. We just want to show them how the insurance works, right? $500,000, $11,000, that's basically the deal. What we want to do is we want to show somebody. I have not done this yet. I'm going to show them. This is going to be on the wife. I don't think this is going to be enough premium. I want to show them a $40,000 premium. So let's just take this number and double it. Okay, so this is almost a $20,000 premium. I want to show them a higher premium because I'm taking that $40,000 a year out of their retirement accounts, and I want it to go into insurance, right? So this is the all-important column right here that only exists on the whole life insurance policy. You will not find this on UL. You will not find this on term. You will not find it on IUL. You will not find anything else. The dividend is all-powerful. And the reason why the dividend is all-powerful is because you can use the dividend to pay premiums. And it's the only way you can ever access the cash value of an insurance policy without completely blowing up the policy. Any other policy, if you take cash out of it, any type of UL or IUL, if you take cash out, there's no mechanism to continue paying the cost of insurance. So you're going to end up losing the insurance and everything's going to get devastated. In this particular case, let's say it's a $500,000 policy, and let's just double all the numbers here because we'll do one on husband and wife probably. But if they continue to pay in over their lifetime, that $500,000 policy is going to end up being worth $1 million. So the death benefit's going to double. That's an easy conversation, right? But what I want to know is after 15 years from now, he's pumping in 20 a year. Let's double this, right? He's got $287,000 worth of tax-free cash. So if he pumped in $40,000, he'd have 287 times 2. He'd probably have a little bit more than that, right? But he's going to have $574,000 in here. Don't you see how simple this is? I just moved money from his retirement account into his life insurance. He's got the same amount of money, guys. Look. He spent down $500,000, so he's only got $500,000 left. But where's the other $500,000? Well, wouldn't you rather have the other $500,000 be in a tax-free life insurance policy right here than sitting in your taxable retirement account? Because if you or your wife dies, wouldn't you rather than getting the $500,000, which is double this, they're going to get $1.2 million, or they'll get $600,000 actually. Because let's say we do one of these on each of the husband and the wife, right? I don't want to confuse you guys because I know I'm talking really fast. The spouses can leave each other $600,000 of tax-free cash, or they can use, they can use the tax-free cash value over their lifetime. What's more important than that is that this $600,000 is also accessible for long-term care. So they do not have to pay any money at all to use that money for long-term care. So in this particular case, as we move forward in this person's life, what really has happened here, we've done a couple of really amazing things, I think. We have created a massive tax deduction for them using a charitable trust. We've gotten them all this protection that they didn't think they needed before, and watch what happens now. Now they have 542. We move this 542 up here. We're not taking $77,000 out anymore. Right? We did that for 15 years. The life insurance was fully funded. Now we're just taking out the $37,000. Right, which is the retired minimum distribution. We do that for another 15 years. That's 30 years into the future, guys. They still have $288,000 left. Right? And now they have all this other money. They've shrunken their retirement accounts, which is really what people want. They don't realize they want it. But nobody wants to die and leave their husband or wife or kids a retirement account that's fully taxable. That's not their intention. And if they needed the money in this retirement account, if they need the assets in this retirement account for long-term care, they got to pay taxes on all the money to get it out. $1 million can go in a matter of just a handful of years to go pay for long-term care. They can lose all that. So we're protecting the asset, we're protecting the spouse, we're protecting the estate, we're protecting their family. Oh, and all, by the way, we just so happen to be putting a little bit of money in our charitable bucket too. We're going to end up leaving some money to charity. We'll probably end up leaving to charity $150,000 at the end of their lifetimes. Is that cool with you? So this particular case is an awesome case. There's a lot of really cool things going on. I didn't really have enough information on it to probably make the proper recommendation, but once this guy retires, all the world of opportunity is going to open up to him using our strategy, using our calculators, implementing our process and our ideas. Whereas I would say to you, if this person never met us and all they did was buy annuities with no protection and no tax benefit, these guys are screwed. They're going to live their life in fear. They're going to get clobbered by taxation, and it's just going to be a complete mess, even if nothing goes wrong. Even if nothing goes wrong. They're going to leave their estate fully taxable to their beneficiaries. It's going to be a massive distribution. The kids are going to end up paying taxes on their money on top of whatever they make. Oh, no kids, sorry. No kids in this situation. But whoever they leave the money to, whether it's family members or whoever else, it's going to be an absolute mess, and nobody wants that. Case number 1, in the bag. Case number 2. I'm going to go through this quickly. This is a toughie. This is a case that I'm working with one of you guys on. You know it. Husband and wife, late 50s, 2 kids still in college, a bunch of term insurance, life insurance-wise, which you obviously see all the time, right? Some retirement accounts with some contributions going on here. Various accounts here, a little bit of money, non-qualified, very small mortgage, by the way, right? This client probably did a really, really good job paying down their house, because right now what's happening is they're paying for their kids' college, I think, out of pocket and with loans. So they're hoping that's going to work out. But the first thing that I would probably do in this situation, and again, a lot of clients don't like this, so it really depends upon the particular client. But this particular client, nobody necessarily wants all of their insurance to expire when they retire or leave their company. So if this guy's got $300,000 worth of insurance at work, I would simply ask him, hey, what do you plan on doing with the insurance when you retire or leave the company? And the person was probably going to say, nothing. I either don't need it, don't want it, and I might suggest to him, well, whether you need it or want it or not, you probably can't get it. Because as you get older and less healthy, the insurance becomes much more expensive, and it may not be something that you're going to want to do. But I guess the way I would position it is, if I could show you a way where we could keep this insurance that you have, because you may work another 11 years, but if we could keep this insurance without it going away, without the price going up, are you open to looking at those options? And obviously, we need to get them underwritten for health insurance, for long-term care. Underwritten for the health rating for long-term care and for life insurance. I'd like to know if the wife is insurable too. Okay? And what I really would like to do is I would like to figure out if he's getting a match on this 403B. And you'll see here, watch what little difference this makes, right? If I take away this thing altogether and I say, okay, if he's not getting a match, I think he is getting a match. Let's say he's not getting a match, or let's say the portion that he's not getting matched on. If I take this away, watch what happens to the $45,000. It goes down to $41,000, right? So what that $6,000 is doing is it's going to give an extra $3,000 a year in retirement. Well, is that good or is that bad, or I don't know, but the reality is all the money he's got saved here in retirement accounts, plus the money he's adding in here, I think we added up, it's 500 and something thousand bucks. I think this is a future value. This is a age 67 value. So let's say right now he's got $500,000. It's actually a little less, 180. Yeah, so he's got $400,000. So what I do is I go to the calculator and say, okay, look, you've got $400,000 right now, getting a reasonable rate of return. Let's say you work 11 years, and you're putting in $6,000 of your own money. So at the end of 11 years, at a reasonable rate, you'll have $773,000. How does that sound? Right? Sounds pretty good. Well, I'm going to ask them, if you didn't put this $6,000 in, how much would you have? With zero, instead of having $770, it's $6,000. It's about $90,000 less money. $90,000 less money. Let me think about this for a second. He's got $90,000 less money, but he's put in $66,000 less of his own money. So is it worth investing $66,000 over 10 years to get $90,000 that's fully taxable? But more important than that is you've just added more money to this rules-based retirement account, where you're now limited on how you can access it. You're penalized if you access it too early, and they force you to take it out whether you want money or not. that type of rules-based retirement account is something that people tend to want to diversify out from, not contribute more money to. Again, we're going completely against the whole paradigm shift of, hey, max out retirement accounts blindly and not care about insurance, right? We're doing the exact opposite, which is, hey, let's make sure we have protection in place and let's diversify. And when I said diversify, not diversify stocks, bonds, mutual funds, but diversify the different types of vehicles we're using, which is tax-sheltered versus non-tax sheltered, deferred versus tax-free, all that kind of good stuff. The other reason why I like the opportunity that this guy has is he's got all kinds of equity in his house. So in some cases what I might tell him, depending upon the student loans for the kids or whatever else he's doing, I might tell him, hey, look, you know what? Rates are pretty darn good right now. You're going to lose this mortgage interest deduction as you lose these kids. Is that something that you really want to have happen to you? We can refinance the house, take some money out, get a higher tax deduction, but not change your payment. So how do we figure out how to do that? Well, we go right to the loan amortization calculator. I'm looking for a $700 a month payment, right? Maybe he needs to buy a car. I don't know what kind of debt consolidation that this guy has. I don't have every bit of information on this guy yet, but interest rates aren't 2.9 like he's got. It's probably closer to 4. If we do a 30-year loan, I want this payment right here to be $700. So let's do $150,000, let's say, on average. Just a rough guess. How close am I? Pretty darn close. Right? You can access $150,000, and right now he owed very little, so he owes 45, let's say. So he can access $100,000 and still keep his payment where it is right now. So I think that's awesome. We can take that $100,000, just plop it in the savings because this guy doesn't have much savings at all. I would love for him to have more savings as he heads towards retirement. Plop that into savings and get all the tax deductions, and then start doing some. Obviously, we're going to transfer this guy's money and put him in some better things, simplify, consolidate, all those types of things you want to hear about. Is this guy a potential CRUT candidate? Absolutely. He's got $70,000 here, but I would love. He's a little young to do a CRUT. You can do it this young, but I would try to get him to start adding money to his accounts down here so he could do a larger CRUT contribution down the road. We explain to him how a CRUT works. We explain to him how we can create tax deduction for him. We get him to save money into the non-retirement account assets. We redirect. We do insurance. And obviously, he's going to be wildly diversified with more protection and more options. At $150,000, worst case scenario, we do a reverse equity line of credit on this house. If you guys don't know how to do a reverse equity line of credit, it's simply you take him and it's 65 years old, and you say, okay, the house is worth $240. They will erase this mortgage, and they'll give him half of the $240, which is $120. So $120 minus $50, they would give him a check for $70,000. So he would lose his mortgage payment forever, and he would get a check for $70,000. That's another option. But again, sometimes that freaks people out. It also depends on how we position it. So we want to ask this guy, how he feels about these different things. We're going to go through it one thing at a time. But man, it's so common for us to see all this term insurance and then nothing in retirement. Lose all your insurance, have no protection. That's really, really interesting. So this particular client needs every dollar he has. It's really, really important that we do good planning for this guy. Okay? So it's a very different case than before. Let's go to case number 3. Single woman. I'm assuming, again, single woman. Didn't give me any spouse information. It says here that they're 72. Projected age to retirement 67. Probably already taken Social Security, obviously. Has to be. I'm not sure what this means. Maybe they're still getting a little bit of income. But they have a long-term care policy with MassMutual. I'm guessing at some point this premium has gone up, and it probably will continue to go up. I'm seeing some kind of guaranteed universal life, it looks like, with a $21,000 cash value. I can tell you right now, if this is accurate, guys, and I don't know what it is, but this person is as screwed can be, because there's a Sun Life universal life policy that was a guaranteed universal life, but they're not paying premium. So as soon as you skip a premium, they could have just skipped one premium, guys. You could have reduced the premium. You could have taken $1 out of the cash. This is no longer guaranteed universal life. It's now guaranteed to blow up universal life. So whether this person had it before you or after you, whenever, the fact of the matter is all the guarantees have been lost. This long-term care is horrible because they're probably going to get clobbered on premiums. So this insurance way that it's set up right now it's a Greek tragedy. You know, the only good thing that could happen to this woman is she goes to a nursing home tomorrow and dies in 3 years. I don't think that's going to happen. This woman's probably healthy. So this is a mess. This is an absolute mess. I don't even know if this part's fixable, to be honest with you, because the woman's a little older. So let's try not to get our clients left in a situation where they have no outs. All right. Other than that, though, everything else looks pretty darn good, considering the fact that she doesn't need a lot of income. Right. If I scroll down for a second, personal residence $275, no mortgage. That's awesome. She's getting Social Security. Looks like she's got some type of promissory notes. They're collecting money from their 2 daughters, daughter 1, daughter 2. That's what those double Ds are. She's got some CDs in the annuity here that they're not really taking income from, I'm guessing, because it doesn't show money coming out. But anyway, if they were taking income, we would put it down here under the income portion so we could see what they're taking. I don't see a lot of overhead. I can't tell of these house notes how much income they're generating from it. I could obviously see it if I saw it in a tax return, unless it's a under-the-table kind of deal. But this particular client has the ability to, get some other types of things in place. This is an IRA CD and then a Jackson National Variable Annuity, no doubt. So this couldn't be any. These are 2 opposite ends of the spectrums of things that couldn't do any worse. You couldn't do any worse than a variable annuity fee-wise without performance, and you couldn't do any worse than a CD, which is not performing, obviously. So I think there's obviously the opportunity to roll those, consolidate, make some money. I don't know if she's adding to this Wells Fargo account. It's a non-qualified account. But, this has got the makings of a potential CRUT for her as well, if she's got some charitable interests. But, I think this woman probably, if she really owns these promissory notes, house in Paula's name, house in daughter's name, there's got to be some income coming from here. I can't tell what that is. It doesn't seem like. Here it is. I'm sorry, it's right here. This must be the amount she's getting. Looks like she's getting $10,000 a year, and then she's getting $16,000 a year from R&D. So this is 26 plus Social Security. So maybe she doesn't need more than $47,000 a year. Maybe $4,000 a month is enough for her. I'm guessing it probably is, because I don't think she's necessarily taking money out of here. So any extra money that she gets could go into getting a better insurance policy. You could 1035 exchange this sucker into a much better policy that's not going to go away on her. I would not, and I repeat this, guys, I would not ever tell somebody to cancel their existing long-term care. Okay? There's a high likelihood this woman's had this long-term care policy for a long time. So it's probably cost-wise much better than the policies that are coming out now, where there's a much higher likelihood of her needing it. Find out what the options are for MassMutual to make it so there's no future premium increases. She may have to lose the rider or reduce benefit, but they will be able to show you a way so that these premiums don't go up and just keep what she has. If we can supplement it, that's fine. But I think she's got a lot of benefit here. 4% compounding, 100% home health care, 3-year benefit. Yeah. So this is a Cadillac plan, guys. Absolute Cadillac plan. So you don't want her to lose that. But if they start saying, hey, look, your premium is going to go from $1,700 a year to $3,400 a year, it's going to double, then they'll say, hey, look, maybe we'll reduce the compounding portion, or maybe we'll reduce the $285 a day benefit. $285 a day, what is that? 285 times 365? $100,000? Yeah. I mean, for most people, honestly, they might have a little bit too much insurance. We don't need to pay for every single last dollar of long-term care. She's got other money. We really only want to pay on insurance on the shortfall. So if this woman's single and she's got $40,000 a year coming in, maybe we can reduce this to $150 a day, because she's only trying to pay for the shortfall between what her income is coming in plus what the long-term care would pay for. We're not trying to have it pay for everything, and that might be another way to reduce future premium costs. So when they try to hike this on her, either reduce the compounding or reduce her daily benefit so that the premium doesn't go up, and that would probably be fine. So that's 3 cases, very, very different. Again, potential CRUT with her in the future, lots of interesting stuff. I can plan a case in 30 seconds. I can look at this model and see it. But what you go through with the client is explain to them exactly what they have and how it's going to work. They really appreciate it. You can make your notes here. You can have everything projected out. It really appears that you've taken some time, obviously, to plan these cases out with the clients. And some of these cases are smaller, some are bigger. It doesn't matter. We treat every client the same, and we bring them all through the same process. Okay. Any questions about the first three? I'm going to show you one more. This is a client of mine that I just met with, and this is another very interesting thing. Here's the deal, guys. The wife is disabled. She's getting Social Security disability. It's right here, $16,733. I think I got some good news for this guy. He is actually been laid off. Okay? This guy's 59 years old. His wife is disabled. He's got 3 kids that he successfully raised. One of them's getting married. I see some grandchildren in this guy's future. His wife will never work again. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could tell this guy, you know what? Don't go back to work. I think you're going to be okay. I think you're okay to retire now. That was his big question. Can I retire now? I haven't given him the answer yet because I need to just verify a couple other things. But I think there's a decent chance that, when this guy was working, he was maxing out. So even though it showed his making 95, his actual wages was something closer to like 60-something, right? Because he was deferring, he was maxing out plus catch up on his retirement account, right? So maybe in retirement he's going to need a total of, let's just say $80,000. I think he said he needed $80,000, right? Well, guess what, guys? I just did a future withdrawal deal. Let's bring this to age 59. Right? And this is where it gets kind of exciting. He needs $80,000. He's already at 75. Right? He's at $75,000. So I only need to come up with a few more $1,000, and he can actually retire now. And there's a couple ways to go about getting that extra money. Right? But notice here, he can't get Social Security until he's probably 66. He's not going to want to, obviously, maybe not even 70. So what we need to do is we need to say to him, look, you're a little bit short of being able to retire now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a spend down. And your $1 million that you have saved up in your retirement accounts, I'm going to take more than the minimum that most people would take out, and I'm going to reduce the principal a little bit. And here's why. And this is really exciting for this guy, right? Because he had no idea what the plan was. He doesn't know how to plan. No financial planner ever shows somebody he can do this, right? But you take your $1 million. Oh, missed 1 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Get a reasonable rate of return. Bring him to age 70, which is 11 years from now, right? How much does he have to take out of his retirement accounts to supplement his wife's income to get him to maximum Social Security age? That's all I really need to know, right? And I need $58,000 from his retirement accounts. Actually, that takes that back. He's got another account down here, 364. So he's got about 1.4 million. Let me change that number real quick. He's got 1.4 million. Right? And he needs $58,000 a year, but I need to take out more because it's not enough. He needs to get to $80,000, so he needs let's just say he needs $65,000 a year. Okay? So he needs $80,000 of income. We're going to take him to $65,000 a year. $65,000. Right? And after 11 years, guess what happens? His account has stayed almost level. Right? And then what happens at this point? Well, at this point, Social Security, he's now maxed out, guys. We've brought him, 11 years from now, we brought him to this magical number of $40,000. So this guy's income is going to go up by $40,000 a year because he's going to be at maximum Social Security age. Watch this. Right? And now what's going to happen is he doesn't have to take the $65,000 a year anymore. Right? He can take less, and he can reduce his withdrawal to minimum distribution, which is, I don't know, 50,000, something like that, right? And now his assets can go get back on track and do what they're supposed to do, which is grow by a little bit. So when he says to me, can I retire now, not only have I answered his question, but I've verified it mathematically saying, yes, absolutely, you can retire now. I'm going to add some protection to his life because we're probably going to take a little bit of this money down here and move it into a trust, do some life insurance, do some long-term care, all the other good stuff, right? But we've also showed him as he gets older, his income's going to increase over time in case taxes get worse or inflation gets worse. He has a strategy in place to give him a better retirement income the longer he lives. I can tell you right now, guys, I met with this guy. I did not talk to him about the word annuity. I did not talk to him about the word safe money. I did not talk to him about the word AUM. I did not talk to him about stocks, bonds, mutual funds. I did not talk to him about equity indexed annuities. I did not talk to him about income riders. I didn't talk about any of that stuff. After one meeting, he's ready to move all of his money. I can just tell. I can see it because I'm the one guy, not these Cambridge advisors that he has, not these other advisors that he has wherever they has them. All they've talked to him about is what? Oh, let's do asset allocation. Let's do Monte Carlo simulations. Let's do modern portfolio theory. Let's do AUM and charge you 1.3%. Just a bunch of crap. They've all been feeding them the same crap. No solutions, no strategy, no answer to any questions. Why? Because they don't know how and they don't care. They don't know how and they don't care. And they certainly don't know how to do it to make sure it works no matter what. If one of them dies, if they need long-term care, he can't do it. But we know not only can he retire, but we're going to cover all of his bases. He's going to give us all of his money, and we're going to be his advisor. We're going to take it over from these other guys who haven't done Jack Diddley for him. We're going to do a big, fat charitable trust, get him a six-figure tax deduction, and he's going to be ecstatic. We close these cases 100% of the time. There's no reason for us not to close these cases. And when I say close the case, I don't mean roll over his money. I mean become the advisor and get everything. That's what I mean by closing the case. We're going to do it 100% of the time. Again, there might be a small possibility that the guy's a jerk and doesn't like us or we don't like him or whatever. But these cases are great cases for us because we went in there with a strategy. Right? We're obviously going to get this guy some insurance because he wants to protect his estate from his kids and grandkids. His wife is not insurable. She's disabled. She's got a decent life expectancy, though. I'll tell you the type of disability she has, she could live a long time. So, there's something to be thinking about in terms of longevity here. But the approach that we're going to take is so simple. Nobody's ever taken it with this guy before. He doesn't even know that we're after his money. He doesn't feel like we're after his money. He understands the taxes. He understands the opportunity. Oh, by the way, guys, here's another simple one. His income this year, because he was laid off, is low, so we're going to Roth convert some of this also. He's in the 15% tax bracket, which, he'll never be in the 15% tax bracket once Social Security and RMDs kick in, so he's going to get clobbered, right? This is not 15 tax bracket income, right? But right now he's making less than 75, so we're Roth converting. Then when he goes in the higher bracket, we'll do more charitable trust work, we'll do other things to reduce income. I can reduce this guy's income for the next, taxable income I should say, for the next 15 to 20 years if I wanted to. It's going to be completely up to him. We're going to teach him how to do it, and he's going to decide how much he wants to do. But the money's going to be under our control regardless. So those are 4 significantly different cases, and hopefully you guys can see that it's really, really important to have a good financial model to start with. We didn't use any of the blow up the funds calculators. We didn't use any of the random return calculators. I think most of you guys have seen those in action. I just kind of wanted to show you why the strategy is so important, how important it is to have a complete and accurate model, how we sell off of it, how some potential insurance solutions worked, like with that first case. And, so I rambled on straight for about 55 minutes. That was pretty good. I don't see any questions from you guys at all. Should we open up the lines? I got just a couple more minutes. Are you guys satisfied with that? Here's a question, just popped up. Said, I received a call from a prospective client I did not know. They said they had about $50,000 and wanted to talk to me. When I asked them to bring in all the financial statements, they said they were not interested in meeting. What would you have done? I would have said absolutely what you said. we have people once in a while that say, hey, I just want to try you out, and I want to give you $100,000 or whatever it is to try you out. And honestly, hopefully you guys can be in the position that you can just say no, thank you. But in our office, we have so many people that we manage their life savings that we don't want to be a part-time advisor for somebody. If you don't want to do business with us, that's fine, but we can't be a part-time advisor with you because that means I now have to take your phone calls. And that's not fair to guys who have entrusted us with all their stuff. So in our office, we would just say no thank you. And I don't know how this person came to call you, but more than likely they have more than $50,000, and more than likely if you say that's not how we do business, we really want to take care of our clients, and we want to be available to our clients who have entrusted us with their life savings, that we don't take part-time clients, there's a decent chance that that person might come back around again and end up doing business with you. So thank you for that question. Anything else? Hopefully those case studies got you thinking. Obviously the idea today was just give you some scenarios, showing you how we plan cases, getting you thinking about the different ways that we can plan cases. I know you have clients like these 4 in your databases, guys. I know you do. We can go around and try to find some opportunities. You want to call me and get some more solutions. I'm happy to chat with you guys individually. I know I've got a bunch of cases going on with a lot of you guys. Super fun and exciting to do this together. It's a huge win-win for us, and it's the best way to really see the client interaction and how we actually position and close cases is to do the actual live cases. Hopefully you guys are seeing that and getting benefit. I really appreciate you guys catching up with me, and hopefully I'll be seeing you all soon. Just so you know, we do have a contest that we're going to be doing for life insurance. I think it's going to start. I'm going to be announcing it probably in the next couple of weeks. It's going to start and just run through May, June, July, August, and it'll be another golf outing. We did it last year. We're going to do an advanced training for the guys that come, all expenses paid, training plus golf plus food and drink plus hanging out together and camaraderie and all that kind of good stuff. It's probably going to be in Chicago at the end of the summertime. I hope you guys can all make it, and I hope you guys can all get the Australia thing on track. I know a couple of you guys on this call are already on track to qualify for Australia. I look forward to working more with you guys. Thank you. Have a great day. Any last questions before I sign off? All right, cool. Dennis, thank you very much. I appreciate your support as always.
Absolutely. Jonathan, thank you so much. Everybody, that wraps up our call. Let's go out and sell something. Have a great rest of our week.